What's going on, Raiders? Duelim here, back here with another video, and today I've got a special guest, and that's right, it's Mobile Gamer. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I am amazing, and we have been kind of at an argument ever since I started playing this game about 2 weeks ago, and you started multiple months, like 7 or 8 months now, right? You're getting pretty far deep, and we've kind of had an argument back and forth, which I love because there's an argument for both sides, and that's which character do you pick to use as your first starting code when you start the game. So you have two premier S tier options. You're looking at Supreme Gaelic here, and we're going to talk about Sun Wukong as well. So to be able to claim these, you want to make sure you're in your Bastion, and then you click on the left-hand side here, and you go to promo codes, and I'm going to make my argument for Supreme 6 to get Supreme Gaelic, and we're going to talk about why. We're going to do a deep dive on the kit, and then the other code is going to be Monkey King, and that's going to be for Sun Wukong, and that's going to be Mobile Gamer's Q on when he's going to talk about that kit and his usefulness and his firsthand experience with it. You also want to make sure if you're starting off the game,
Well, there's a couple things about this first.
Yeah.
First of all, use somebody's promo code. You can
Absolutely
go to my channel and do that because you're going to get extra stuff if you use a content creator's promo code.
Absolutely. Just about to get into that. Absolutely.
I'm going to say, I use mine anyways. Use somebody.
No, use mine. No. So
okay,
absolutely use someone's. Please use someone's. It's like not only does it support them, it's also going to support you because you're going to get so much free stuff to start off. It's so important.
Right. Okay, so like the promo code I have, it gives you a legendary and an fine. Okay, so here's the thing about this. This only works in the first 24 hours that you play the game. So you got to do it, and you can only use one code. You can only use one promo code per 24-hour period. Like as soon as you successfully put Monkey King or Supreme 6 in, it locks you out. This is not on iOS.
Yep.
You have to go to the website. The Polarium website and enter in your player ID and the promo code there. So you're going to find this on the PC client. You're going to find this on Android. They all sync with each other, but for some reason or another, iOS does not allow this feature. So you have to go to the website. Anyway, sorry for...
No, you're good. Hey, you want to say that one a little bit slower? The PC client. That's right. This game has a dedicated PC client, and holy hell, does it work great. So that's all I'm saying about that. It's amazing.
And let me tell you something about the PC client. They allowed for third-party plugins. So there are two very, very important plugins. No need to talk about them today for this video, but they are extremely helpful. And in some ways, I would think that the game would be much more difficult to navigate without them. They absolutely make the game so much easier to play, and they optimize your account. I love them.
Absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, so let's get into it. We're gonna go first up. We're gonna talk about Supreme Gaelic because we're gonna have my point of view here. So this is Supreme Gaelic. This is how I have him built, and I wanna start with this. I was talked into this, so I didn't know better. I didn't know who to pick, and I had my Twitch chat was being awesome and telling me like, hey, Supreme Gaelic is gonna help you super long term because he's got HP bleeds. He's got a buff extension with his A1. His A2 is a lot of damage as well as it puts increased attack on yourself. So we're going to go over to the Tavernier and look at Supreme Gaelic and go over his skills. So his A1 here, like I said, it attacks one enemy twice. Each hit has an extra 10% chance of inflicting a critical hit as well. And crit is insanely important in this game, right? Like that increases your damage so much, and you want to like stack crit a lot in this game. You want to make sure you have up to 100%, but with this, you only need 90% because it's got an extra 10% of hitting a crit rate here, which is pretty awesome. And then the books will help out. More damage, the buff debuff chance goes up as well. More damage, and then buff debuff chance as well. And then the second part of the A1 is going to be each hit also has a 40% chance of increasing the duration of any HP burn debuffs on the target by 1 turn. And we're going to talk about the A3, but how important are burns just in this game in general?
Okay, so it depends on the game mode, but in certain bosses, you can use the HP burn mechanic with high degree of effectiveness. Certain bosses require it if you want to get through it. Like, you know, so it just varies. So this is not going to be like, this is good on every boss. It's good on a lot of the important bosses, and I think for the purpose of this conversation today, we should talk about clan boss, which the two different clan bosses, right? The demon lord and Hydra. You haven't
Yeah.
got to Hydra, but I want to tell you Hydra is a nightmare,
Yeah.
and Hydra is actually quite a bit more challenging than Chimera in some ways, even though Chimera is newer. But you could use this against Chimera also. So this is going to be good against HP Burn is going to be very good against Clan Boss. And frankly, we talked about this in the video we made on our channel. The
Mhm.
Demon Lord Clan Boss is the most effective way of getting resources early game. And I feel like a large amount of one's time should be focused on optimizing your clan boss team because
Absolutely.
that's where the rewards are.
Yeah.
On a daily basis, there's this continuous drip of a very important gear, potions, books, shards, all the goodies come through there, and it's good. It's very good.
Yeah, it absolutely is, and that's why a lot of people were convincing me on why this was the best, and that's why a lot of people pick kale as their starter, right? Because it has the poison, and poison's kind of
Right.
hard to come by, and poison's great for bosses as well. So let's talk
Yeah,
about.
has anybody told you why kale fades out quickly though?
No, no, they haven't.
Uh, so the problem with kale, first of all, kale's fine when you get started,
Mhm.
and he's going to be effective. The bosses have a 10 negative effect cap,
Oh, interesting.
and kale will clog it up really quick.
Gotcha.
And
Okay.
then you're not like, so let's say kale clogs up the clan boss with all the poisons
Mhm.
and you can't get the HP burns. So he starts
Oh,
conflicting
okay.
with other characters pretty quickly. But not
Gotcha.
at first. Like at first you're just gonna run in with Kale and maybe some supports and some damage, try to keep him alive as long as possible. Other people are just doing their damage, whatever. But at some point, you're going to come to a specialized build that's going to depend on HP burn or whatever, and your strategy is going to fall apart if he's clogging it up.
Gotcha. Okay, very interesting. Okay, cool. That's awesome. I learned something new. So let's talk about the A2. So we got Bloodshed, Tempest, and this attack is pretty unique because it not only is it AOE when there's more than one target on the board, but when there's only one target, it's all 4 hits will hit the same target, which is really great. So you got attack 4 times at random, places a 50% increase attack buff on this champion for 3 turns before attacking. So he's applying that
Mhm,
increased attack and then he's
mhm,
doing the damage, which is also
mhm,
great. So you're not kind of wasting that turn.
mhm,
Each hit has an extra 10% chance of inflicting a critical hit. Once again, you only need that 90% crit instead of
mhm,
100% because of both of the abilities, the A1 and the A2, giving that extra 10%. And then each hit also has a 75% chance of instantly activating any HP burn
mhm,
debuffs. And you'll see when we talk about his A3 that it's going to be his HP burn on each target and decreasing the duration of those HP burn debuffs by 1 turn. So it's essentially consuming it a little bit faster instead of
mhm,
waiting for them to get to their turn,
mhm.
which is awesome. And then fill this champion's turn meter by 30% if 3 or more HP debuffs are activated during the attack. So if you're consuming 3 of those burns, you're getting turn meter. And how important is turn meter in this game, right?
Well, it's everything, and the thing about turn meter is everything. But the more important thing here is that this is multiple targets. So this is
Mm-hmm.
Screams Hydra, which is going to be 4 heads, and the thing, the beauty of this game is this is an HP burn character,
Yeah.
and there are dozens of HP burn characters that interact well with each other, and depending on who you stumble into, you can build a team around this. There's a lot of good HP burn characters that you could make combos with. Maybe it's Geomancer or Magnar. And those are epics, right? So
Okay.
we're
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
talking about other rares because there's so many rares, but you're going to stumble upon somebody that's going to complement this and be able to build a team around it.
Yeah, which is awesome because there's so many choices, and we were talking about this off camera as well. Like, there's so many little things that people compare with others, and then like you've seen
Right.
some of your roster that you have that's way more built does what Supreme Gaelic does, just a little bit worse, right? But like they still do kind of the
Or
same
different.
things
Yeah.
or
Or
different,
different.
right?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
and that's what the awesome thing about this is. My experience is completely different from yours, which I love. So we can chat and see which is best and stuff like that. So.
Right.
Going into the A3, this is his bread and butter unreasoning outburst. Attacks all enemies, has 10% chance of inflicting a critical hit. So again, you only need that 90% crit, which is great. Has a
Yeah.
75% chance of placing a chance of placing HP burn and block buffs, debuffs for 2
Yeah.
turns. So essentially,
Yeah.
it's not letting them gain buffs, and you're also putting that HP burn. And then you also place a 30% decreased speed debuff on targets whose turn meter is higher than 50%. So this turn 1 will pretty much put decreased speed on everybody, because they're all going to have higher than 50%
Right.
turn meter, which is absolutely nuts. And then
There's a large percentage of the bosses that they don't allow for decreased speed,
yeah.
so I just keep that in mind. Block buffs,
Hmm.
block buffs. You have to have on Hydra. I
Yeah.
don't even know. I mean, you don't have to. I guess nothing in this game is absolute. Holy moly! Yeah, if I said anything is like you must do this, or it's just not true.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
so
yeah.
many like a million exceptions to the rule. Block buffs is vital on Hydra. Now Hydra is more mid game.
Hmm.
I think that earlier in the game you're going to be focusing on Chimera and a Demon Lord, but like I use Sun Wukong just for that inside of Hydra, because he has block buff on his A3. By the way, A1 is basic, A2 is special,
Yes.
A3 is ultimate,
Yep. Yep.
and
Yep.
then there's sometimes a passive. And so, but yeah, in this game it's A1, A2, A3, which is basic, special, ultimate, really.
Yep, yep, yep. And the other thing about Supreme Gaelic as well that I love that's not even related to his kit is his affinity is void. So he's not having like a negative affinity to anybody. He's pretty much the one in
Mhm.
the middle, right? So it's rock, paper, scissors, shoot, void, right? Which is another thing that kind of led me to him because he's an all around good character everywhere. So he's never going to have those negative times of going into an affinity where he's, the lesser, or he's going to have that bonus. So it's kind of a better, like, jack of all trades, well rounded
Right.
character, which is another thing that kind of led me to him as well.
Right. And so in honestly, like there are epic void champions and they're legendary void champions and so on, right? They are a step up
Hmm.
from the normal legendary. So a void legendary will just be overall better, and they are much harder to get because void champions can only be found in void shards. So
Yeah.
like sacred shards, you're going to be getting a certain amount of legendaries that are good, but they're not going to be void
Right.
legendaries. And
Right. Right. Right.
sacred shards, have a higher percentage than void shards. Void shards, the default is 0.5%.
1 in
Where
200. Yikes.
yeah, and then but most people are hoarding everything until they have some sort of boosted drop
Yeah.
rate, like
Yeah. Yeah.
double drops there. So typically, I don't think anyone's normally opening them unless they're at the 1% drop.
Mhm.
So yeah, they're not easy to get. So a lot of people, were taken by how generous they were in offering Supreme Gallic for essentially for free if you use
Yeah.
the code in the first 24 hours as a void legendary. They're very rare.
Yeah, absolutely. So you alluded to Sun Wukong a little bit. So that's my pitch on Supreme Gaelic. Amazing in Hydra, really great in campaigns, great in clan bosses where you're getting a lot of early game rewards as well. So let's go over to the index, and he is part of, what is it again? Which one was it? It was
Skinwalkers.
Skinwalkers, right? That's right. And then he was
Yeah,
towards the bottom
he
here,
he's a
and
furry.
he's a
That's the
furry.
Nope, that's the furry.
He's
Oh, click left and right. It's the furry faction. Just click left and right, and you'll see.
Oh,
Just
really?
click.
Is it
Yeah,
is it
just click.
really? Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
look
it
at
is.
well.
Okay,
Oh
gotcha.
yes. Keep going.
Okay,
Yeah, they're
gotcha.
all like they're all like
Oh
yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. Okay,
There
I
you go.
gotcha. Oh my. Oh,
It's the
okay.
furry
I'm
faction.
picking up what you're putting down now. Okay, yes it is. So he's a
All
furry
right.
with a big stick. All right, so talk me
Yeah.
through
Wow. Wow.
talk me
Wow.
through Sun Wukong. God,
All
we're
right.
children, man. So talk
All
me through
right.
Sun
So
Wukong.
okay. So there are tons of good places for Sun Wukong in PvE.
Mhm.
He is known as being an arena god, just
Mhm.
god tier arena. So, in a lot of ways, some people don't like PvP. In a lot of ways, the rewards are better, let's say, on clan boss, but the game does pivot towards PvP eventually, and it becomes more important as time goes on because that's where you're going to need to boost your stats globally.
Yeah.
That's where you get inside of normal classic arena, and then in live arena, which is level 50, that's where you're going to get stats to each particular mode. So it's another way of giving speed in faction wars, another way of giving speed in a specific dungeon. So it allows you to, what game mode are you struggling in? The rewards from the live arena will be helping you do better in dungeons. So you can't really, you have to do PvP. You can't really ignore it, is what I'm
Right.
trying to say.
Yeah,
If you
absolutely.
want to excel at PvE, you got to do some PvP. So a lot of his kit is around PvP.
Hmm.
But before we do that, I want to talk about his usefulness in PvE. So I think one of the main hurdle early game is to get to 12-3
Hmm.
and be able to go through it very quickly. So this is my main nuker. I guess you could use Kale for this also, but I always did Sun Wukong. So the idea is that I can go in with 3 foods that I'm trying to level up or whatever, and then him. So the way that the experience is distributed is that it's distributed evenly
Hmm.
between the 4 characters. And um, so 25% of the experience is disappearing into thin air because eventually he's going to be maxed out, right? Whereas, but
Exactly.
the other, the other 3 are getting the 75%. So you
Yeah.
always want to go in with 3 foods and your nuker. And I'm running through it in like 8-9 seconds. I mean, it's just really fast, and
Oh,
you're
wow.
leveling up
Yeah.
people. And then 12-3 brutal is going to be the one of the more efficient ways of leveling your characters per energy, in and also taking into account silver. So it's
Yeah.
a function of silver plus experience. And the reason 12-3 is that shields sell for more silver, and 12-3 gives out shields.
Yeah.
So there you got it, right?
Yeah.
And then anyways, that's what I was just saying. Anyways, where are we going with this?
Yeah, so I mean, we can start off with his kit. You want to go? I mean, we can start off with his aura here,
Yeah.
which because his
All
aura
right. So
is nuts, right? I mean,
yeah, increase ally speed in arena by 28%. This is going to be vital. As far as I'm concerned, an aura like this is required to be competitive in arena or
yeah.
live arena. There are exceptions to the rule. Holy moly, there's 9 million exceptions. I mean, there's go second teams, and there's teams that have like, but anyways, it's super helpful.
Yeah.
And the character that will also have that aura is going to be Arbiter,
Hmm.
which one is going to be getting at some point. If you hard focus the Arbiter missions, which I believe you should be doing, and I
Yeah.
think you are doing
Yes.
from
Yeah.
my conversation with you, she's a 30% aura. But here's the thing: is that when you get into live arena, you're going to need 2 auras. You're going to need They're always going to ban your speed aura. And
Yeah. Of
if you only
course.
have one, they're going to ban the other. And so what I was saying to you earlier is I had no fun in live arena until I got Arbiter. And
Hmm.
that was because I could bring Sun Wukong and Arbiter in there. And then they always ban Arbiter, but
Right.
then I still have Sun Wukong. If you
Right. Right.
don't
Right.
have another speed arena aura, I just don't know how you're gonna have fun. I
Yeah.
really don't know how you're just gonna get blown up. You're never gonna take a turn, and the speed. So this this is super important. I have 3 speed auras that I lean on for the arena,
Hmm.
because then at some point in live arena you get into gold, and then they don't allow duplicates, and so often your opponent will go first and they'll use one of the ones that you were going to use. Like they put
Right.
out some Wukong first, and then I have to have 2 backups because they're always going to ban the speed aura. That always. There's no absolutes in this game. Holy. But
Just
anyways,
never
it's
listen.
super.
If he says always,
Yeah,
forever and
yeah,
more, just don't listen to it.
yeah. If I say always, there always is an exception to that. Always.
There's always an exception. Yeah, what a paradox that is.
Yeah, there it is right there. There's always an exception to everything that in this game. Like my goodness, there's just so many variables. It's very complicated and a lot of nuance. But anyways, that's super useful.
Yeah,
I'll
let's go
go to the
and
next
then
one. Yeah.
go to the next one. So, gotcha.
Okay. So this has a 25% chance of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn, increases the chance 50% of the target has any buffs. So
Ooh.
in the mastery tree, there is a counterattack option, which is in the mastery tree, I believe, under the defense section.
Hmm.
Got to do that. So when this will happen, he'll take damage. And I believe there's one where if he drops below a certain percentage, then he does a counterattack. This is part of the mastery tree. And so he is, because he's built squishy, and we'll get to why he's built squishy when we get to the passive. That actually happens a lot and
Yeah.
he's counterattacking a lot, and they're getting stunned.
Gotcha. So they're like
So this
stunning
is
themselves essentially because you're doing
yes,
damage and then he does that retaliate and he's just
yes.
stunning you over and over again.
Yeah, and then yes, it's randomized, 25% and then up to 50%. But then as you book him out, those chances will go up quite a bit. You
Yeah,
could
it goes
see
up to
there the buff
100%.
debuff. No, it's 10 plus 15, right?
Is
So
25%. Yeah, and 25 plus 25 plus 50 is 100.
oh yeah, it's 100%. Well, there you go, 100% if they have buffs. There you go. And
Math is
so yeah,
hard. It's
100%.
okay.
Math. Yeah, math. Math is for duelums.
Yep, that's it. That's it for me. So let's go to the A2. So we got
Okay.
Staff of Wonder
Oh my
here.
god, this is bonkers. Attack one enemy. This ignore 50% of the target's defense. Will attack all remaining enemies with any surplus damage. If the target is killed, this attack will also ignore 50% of the target's defense. The initial target survivor puts a sheep debuff on them for 1 turn. This debuff cannot be blocked. So let's never mind the sheep thing for now.
Okay.
So let's say you go in a mirror match, right?
Hmm.
And you're a mirror match in arena. You do this to the opposing Sun Wukong, and the whole team dies.
Interesting. Okay.
The whole team explodes. Like
Okay.
numbers you've never seen, numbers I've never seen before. Like, yeah, you target so turn 1, quite often you will target the weakest character on their team, which is generally Sun Wukong,
Right.
because the way his kit is designed, he is the definition of a glass cannon. We'll
Mhm.
get into that here in a little bit. But you typically target their Sun Wukong because he's going to be everywhere. Everybody uses this guy because he's that good, right?
Hmm.
The whole team will explode. Same thing in PvE. I can't express how important this is in PvE. You'll go into a node and there'll be one character at like 10% health.
Mm.
You'll do this ability and all of them die.
Right.
Happens
Right.
all the time. Like, this is so much damage.
Right.
It's bonkers amounts of damage if you get a kill. Now, if you don't get the kill, frankly, I just from a feels, it's disappointing when the sheep thing happens.
Gotcha. Okay.
It just is. It's like, man, you're trying to get the kill, and then that surplus damage explodes the rest of the team. It's just the way it plays out.
Yeah.
I
The sheep is
can't
almost taunting
express.
you if you don't get the
Yes.
kill.
So the sheep is like the best way I can describe what the sheep is. It's like remove this character from the battle.
Oh, okay.
Does that
I've
make
seen it
sense?
happen to
Like,
mine once, and I was like, "Why the hell is my character a sheep?" And I didn't know what was happening.
yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, this is
So
new."
and there's a lot more nuance to it, but yeah, the sheep basically, when a character turns into a sheep, they can't do anything. They're just stand there. You can't really kill them. And if you kill the sheep, then they just come back as a normal one. So it's kind of like removing the character from the match temporarily.
Gotcha.
That's
Okay.
the best way that I can describe it.
Right.
There's more to it. Like, if you went into the more info and read about it, like, it'll explain what it is. But
Hmm.
the sheep doesn't do any damage. You don't really want to target the sheep because
Right.
there's no point. You know what I mean? You just need it's mostly like stunning them in some
Gotcha.
ways.
Okay.
But it's a different version of stunning, right? I don't know how
Gotcha.
to
Well, there's
explain
so
it.
many
They're
different versions.
just
There's stun, there's sleep, there's freeze, there's sheep. So there's a lot of versions of it.
they're
Petrify.
yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of versions of it.
Yeah, so this is a variation of a stun. But anyways,
Gotcha.
many times this is more important than his A3 AoE. Let's get to that.
Yeah. Let's go to his A3. So now you see us.
Yeah, attack all enemies before attacking, steals all buffs from all enemies. That is crazy.
Wow.
Places a block debuff on them for 2 turns. And so this is turn 1 going in and attacking everyone
Yeah.
and taking all of their buffs. And this is also almost vital. This mechanic is almost vital in Hydra.
Yeah.
Taking all away the positive effects is Hydra. A lot of times the whole thing why you lose to Hydra is they get all the buffs, right?
Hmm.
And then taking all those buffs away, which is nice, but really putting the block debuff on them is
Right.
super important to shut down all of the silliness that they can
Which
do.
is, and
So
that's
this-
what we talked about with Supreme Gaelic as well. That block debuff is really, really crucial in Hydra as well.
Right.
Hmm.
So the way this ends up working is that essentially you've got an AoE that you start off with, and then you go right into the special, which is typically also an AoE. So it's like kind of
Right.
like it ends up being back-to-back AoEs a lot of time in PvE content. So it's super. And because he is a nuker and you don't have to worry about HP or defense at all on him when we
Mhm.
read his passive. Like he doesn't need any.
Yeah, it's just
Zero. Like
damage.
he just needs damage, speed, and accuracy. And then, depending on what you're trying to do, now that I have Arbiter, I don't need to focus on speed as much with him because
Right.
Arbiter's going to go first. Then she gives turn meter to the team, and then he
Right.
eventually goes. There's all kinds of ways of working him. But this is impactful. It depends on who you're fighting up in against arena on whether you want to do the A3 or the A2 first. It just depends. There's a bunch of situations, but my favorite thing in the world to do is to A2 the opposing Sun Wukong and watch their team explode. It
Yeah.
happens a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
It
Okay, and
happens a
then
lot.
you
Yeah.
mentioned the passive. Let's go into the
Yeah,
passive
this is
here.
bonkers.
Yeah.
So revise this champion with 100 HP and 100% turn number 3 turns after they were killed. This guy doesn't die.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was the first thing you told me when you talked about Sun Wukong and why he's so good. You're just like, he just revives over and over and over again. It was immediately what you told me.
And he's scary
Mm-hmm.
because he comes back in 3 turns, and because he's going to do a lot of damage, you could be like ahead in the match, and then you have one person surviving, and then you're like 4-on-1, but you can't kill the last person because you're going to pair him with somebody that's monstrous.
Yeah.
You're going to pair him with like an ultimate death knight in arena, or you're going to pair him with like a Loki. I don't know if you played against Loki.
Loki, yeah. Loki's really tanky. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you account for all the times that he dodges attacks, his effective health is through the roof.
Yeah,
Like,
it's nuts.
They often talk about characters' effective health, which is some sort of combination of their HP and defense, and if they're dodging all the time.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And it's not called a dodge; it's called something else. He has like this sidestep maneuver or whatever like that. Yeah, Loki's not dying. That means this guy's coming back.
Yeah.
And because he's going to be tuned to explode your team, I mean, it's like a time bond. Like, it's like, oh my God, he's coming back in 3 turns. And typically what happens is he comes back and then you're like staring at him and you have to kill him before he goes next. And like whatever your plan was is disrupted for that turn to target him. Now he's easy to kill though. I mean, I already alluded to that. But if he takes a turn, sometimes he's wiping your team. It's just that simple. Now, in PvE, this can backfire, and I'll explain why. Quite often in PvE, you're gonna. I'm finding that I depend on revivers.
Okay.
Because you kind of need sustain. And what's frustrating about Sun Wukong is he revives himself anyways, and he dies all the time. And then if you're playing on auto, your reviver will revive him, and it's wasted.
Gotcha.
It happens a lot.
Okay, yeah.
Which is not that terrible if it's a team revive, because there's a lot of team revives in the game, right? A team revive, it won't matter as much, but sometimes characters on auto will proc their single target revive on him, which is essentially a waste. And so the character that that I played a lot was Rector Drath, has a single target revive. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of epics. It's not a good fit with a single target revive. It's just kind of annoying to waste it on him. Other than that, he just he does so much damage. PvP is where he is vital. He's super helpful in waves. You know how like the waves, if he can delete waves easily. And against Hydra, the debuffs, super helpful. Is he the best character in like clan boss? No, he's just not. Yeah, there's most dungeons there are better alternatives than him, and I think that where he excels is in waves against like the little characters that run up to you. And then where he excels is in PvP and Hydra. So it's a little bit more narrow, but what he does is very important.
Yeah, absolutely. Like what he does well is what he does very, very, very well. And like I kind of talked about this with Supreme Gaelic, that he's kind of a jack of all trades because he has that void trait. So he's always good no matter what. He's never getting the affinity reductions or anything like that. He's got AoE, he's got single target, he's got HP burns, he's got a lot on his kit, but so does Sun Wukong. And that's the best part about this game and why I love having this conversation with you. And we've had it a bunch off camera and I'm like, dude, we just need to do this in a video because this is worth talking about.
Yeah.
And the decision ends up being you guys. It's whatever you guys want to focus on. So if you like that PvP aspect of it and you want to go hard on Sun Wukong because of the extra speed, you absolutely can. If you want more of a well-rounded jack of all trades, you could also go with Supreme Gaelic, and you were shown both of the codes at the beginning of the video. So Mobile Gamer, thanks for coming on. Thanks for talking to me about this with me. This was great. I learned a lot, honestly. I hadn't really gone over Sun Wukong yet, so I learned a lot. Now I know how to kind of counter him a little bit when I go against him in Arena, because I've seen him a bunch in Arena. Let me tell you, he's everywhere. So
Well,
yeah.
there's a ton of characters that can prevent revives or permanent kills and things like that. And that's how you have to play around him, or you ban him,
Or you ban him,
and,
yeah.
and you ban him, or you like if you see him revive, you got to get to it first because it's uncertain what he's going to do to your team. It's kind of bonkers.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I appreciate your time, good sir. This was a great conversation. Make sure if you're going to use a link, make sure you use a creator link down in the description. I've got one on mine. Mobile Gamer has one on his channel as well. A link will be in the description to his channel. Once again,
use your link.
thank you.
I didn't know you had a link.
Yeah, I got a link too. Yeah, I got a link too.
Only use your link.
I got a link too. Absolutely.
My link at the beginning of the video is garbage. I didn't know you had a link. Delete that all out.
That's it. It's just gonna be muted, and we're just gonna play like mariachi music over your voice. Just be like, this guy. No, you're okay. You're good.
Poach your. do not come to my channel and use my link. Only use Dulab's link. Oh my god.
Yeah, absolutely. Use my link. Use someone's link. No matter what, use a link. It's going to help your progress out so much. Nah, you're good. Absolutely, you're good. But I appreciate it. We're going to do this a lot more because I love talking about this game and I love playing it. So I just broke Mobile Gamer. So that's going to be it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed. This has been Duelam. This has been Mobile Gamer. Later, Raiders.